Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the backhanded compliment, otherwise known as negging in today's popular vernacular, which is short for negative comment. First of all, what is a backhanded compliment? Very simply, a backhanded compliment is an insult that is disguised as a compliment. These sorts of comments are typically made by passive-aggressive personality types, people who don't have the confidence or the status to directly express themselves out in the open. Perhaps they're in polite company and they don't feel comfortable throwing barbs out in the open. Note these types of underhanded remarks are a favorite tactic used by manipulators because they're very effective in identifying potential new victims for them to abuse or exploit. They will watch your reaction and see how you take it. Underhanded comments can break down the boundaries and defenses of potential victims. Such comments allow a manipulator or abuser to gauge or measure the confidence and esteem of others, i.e., will they get called out? Will they go into overdrive to defend themselves or win approval? Or will they recognize that this is a game and choose not to play? Backhanded compliments are a favorite tool in the arsenal of the passive-aggressive. They use it to cut people down without having to be accountable for their words or nasty sentiments. It's very similar to the just kidding, get out of jail free card. And when called out for such rudeness, the passive-aggressive will pretend to have no idea what the victim of their insults is upset about. Gee, I don't know what's gotten into them. Did I say something wrong? Here are some of my favorite examples of backhanded compliments that people have tried to slip under my fence over the years. Number one, I had no idea that you were so well-read, intelligent, articulate, etc. Now, it sounds like a compliment until you think about it and realize the implications of that statement. Well, obviously, they thought lesser of you before, but now through your charm and wit, you've won their approval, which should make you feel good because they are your superior, or at least they would like you to think that they're your superior. How about, congratulations on the new house. It's so cozy, meaning tiny, or I didn't know you were so handy, applying it's a fixer-upper or needs a lot of work. How about, wow, you sure do clean up well, which implies that your appearance in general could use some work. And it also suggests that with a little effort, it is possible for you to present properly and maybe even be attractive. Note the tone, which suggests that their approval should be valued by me, or that I should seek their approval because, again, they are my superior, my better. How about, I normally don't find bald men attractive, but you can really pull it off, which obviously would suggest that they would prefer it if I had hair. Fun fact, I would also prefer if I had a full head of hair. But they're going to make an exception because they find me attractive, even though they find this particular quality unattractive. I should be flattered and grateful because they're making an exception for me. How big of them? These sorts of non-compliments generally take a moment to sink in, where you might be thinking, thank you. Oh, no, wait a minute. And then it's awkward to confront the person, so you wind up letting it slide. We often leave such interactions feeling confused. Did they really just say that? Was it intentional? Am I being too sensitive? Am I reading too deeply into this? The more you think about it, the more insecure you become. It's like a mind virus. They plant a little seed and then they sit back and watch it grow. It's about putting you down and making you feel bad so that they can feel better about themselves. What's so confusing is the sentiment of the comment is born out of resentment, jealousy, and insecurity, yet it's delivered with a smile and a pleasant tone from someone who pretends to be on good terms with you. Then if you confront them, they're going to act confused. They're going to pretend to have no idea what you're talking about, which serves to further gaslight you and undermine your sense of self. Then you feel even more insecure because you've now exposed your insecurity out in the open. Meanwhile, the person who issued the false compliment is still hiding behind cover, enjoying the show and the chaos that they've created. The chaos that they're at the center of. Their little mind virus has worked. Understand that these are not accidental faux pas. They're not accidental slips of the tongue or a poor choice of words. These are well calculated and thought out attacks. It really does take a special kind of a jerk to be this nasty. I grew up with people who are masters at this game. Wealthy, highly educated people of stature. These people were at the top of the food chain and they knew how to maneuver socially. Kind of like a politician working the room. They really knew how to kill somebody with kindness, and they taught their children well. I grew up with some of these demon spawns, so I learned a thing or two about dealing with them. So what can we do? Again, this is a game, so we have to play strategically. Okay, I should have said, what do we do after we take a second to hit the like button? Okay, first, remember, they've delivered an insult that's disguised as a compliment. So their goal is to make you look foolish and feel bad about yourself. They think they've set you up with a lose-lose proposition. You either take the shot for fear of making it worse or not being accepted, or you react emotionally and look like a fool in public. And they will pretend to have no idea what just happened. Have no idea why you're upset. So don't take the bait. Don't lash out. This will make you look bad, especially in a social situation. They will spin it and pretend they meant no harm. Just a misunderstanding, and now you look like a jerk. And don't let it get to you, because that's exactly what it's designed to do. To put you down, diminish you, make you feel lesser. So keep your chin up. Don't let people get to you. At least don't let them know that they got to you. So what do? Well, we could ignore it and simply focus on the compliment part. Pretend that we didn't even see the insult. Now, this is going to require a bit of a poker player or an actor to not betray yourself with body language or tone. If you can pull this off, it will greatly upset and frustrate the passive-aggressive attacker. And the best part is, they can't say anything about it because that would force them to have to come out and admit to insulting you. Keep in mind, they may have been working on that zinger that they delivered for some time. For you to not even notice their handiwork, that's a real kick in the teeth for these people. We could try to use humor, like, thank you, that's a really great compliment coming from someone like you. Or, thank you, I can always count on you for a kind word. We could volley the ball back into their court with a similar backhanded compliment of our own, such as, you know, Joe, I don't care what everyone says. You're okay in my book. Then pat them on the shoulder or shake their hand and walk away. Or, you know, I've always admired how you're able to just be yourself and not care what anybody else thinks about you, and then walk away. Sometimes it gets tiring to always be the bigger person. And sometimes it's necessary to show someone how it feels to be on the receiving end of their underhanded compliments. Let them feel how the shoe fits on the other foot, as they used to say. Often those who like to dish it out aren't very good at taking it. So if you really want to sting someone and give them a message to back off and find a new toy to play with, then pick out something that you think that they're likely insecure about and make a left-handed compliment of your own. Something like, "Thank you, Mary, and might I add that you look wonderful for your age." Or, the greatest compliment that I ever heard was at a parent-teacher conference when I was 10 years old. My friend's mother detested this teacher who happened to be significantly overweight. The mother greeted my teacher with a big warm smile on her face and extended her arms for a hug and said, "Congratulations. When are you expecting?" Knowing full well that this teacher was not pregnant. Like I said, I grew up in a town where people made a sport of cutting each other down, hiding behind their kind words and their warm smiles. If there's one thing I can recognize a mile out, it's thinly veiled contempt. Look, these people are going to be a part of life whether we like it or not. So it's a good idea to recognize when someone's poking you in the eye. And it's a good idea to have some sort of idea as to how to respond, rather than stand there with our pants around our ankles looking like a fool. Yes, standing up to these people is awkward. It's meant to be awkward. That's why they design the game the way they do. They win, you lose. The deck is stacked against you. So get used to it and have a few arrows in your quiver. You can always fall back on the friendlier responses like ignoring the dig and focusing on the positive part of the comment. But sometimes in life you just get to the point where, like Popeye the Sailor once said, "That's all I can stands, I can't stands no more." And you have to really let somebody know that you've had enough. You might have to throw a few jabs of your own, or at least learn how to deflect and block, so you're not taking these shots square in the face. Sometimes the only way that some people learn is to experience the same treatment that they hand out to others. They need to learn the hard way, and unfortunately, sometimes we're going to be burdened with that task. So don't feel badly for treating someone the way that they treat you. Sometimes that's what they need to learn. But don't make a habit out of it, or else you're no better than they are. And remember, a proper backhanded compliment is an insult that is disguised well enough to allow the offender to exercise plausible deniability should they get called out. So make sure that you choose your words carefully. My advice, if you find yourself having to repeatedly teach a grown adult such lessons, that's your sign that it's time to leave and move on, to exit this relationship, or at least minimize your exposure to the absolute bare minimum. Sometimes we have to do that with work or family. So that's all I've got for you right now. What say you? Leave a comment below. And again, remember, new content every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Until next time, thank you for joining me and have a great day.